Good afternoon and welcome to Grace and Gavel, where truth meets compassion. My name is Buffy. I'm an almost 18-year criminal defense attorney. Today we're doing episode 3, The Emotional Cutoff, When Interrogation Becomes Trauma. Act 1, Imagine a child alone in a room. The law enforcement officer is staring at the child alone in the room, without a parent, without a guardian, without any idea about what is about to happen. Time is passing and they are isolated. They make their first confession. This is the moment that compliance replaces truth. An adolescent should never be in an interrogation room alone. Because ultimately, the adolescent brain on trial is an immature brain on trial. Let's talk about the neurology of teens. A lot of them have authority compliance, meaning they want to listen to what the law enforcement officer is telling them. And there are some deceptive tactics that are used. For instance, the law enforcement officer has the ability to say, so-and-so told me that XYZ happened. They are able to lie in certain circumstances, which is an unfair advantage against an adolescent. Then you have an adolescent who has a desire to please. Maybe they even think that if they confess, that means that they will go home. That is a common misnomer in adolescents and people who've not really been involved in the legal system in a period of time. And also inability to project consequences, because if they don't have that lived experience, then they don't know. And so they are at a distinct disadvantage. And why adults misread calmness as guilt? Because maybe they don't remember what it was like to be an adolescent. Maybe they're feeling that, his mannerisms or her mannerisms, they're just off, so they must be guilty. And it behooves them to look at someone as guilty, right? Because that's what their job is. And so let's talk about the interrogation tactics. Being separated from your parents in such an adult situation is extremely difficult because they don't know what they don't know. There's also the idea of the law enforcement officers minimizing how things are going, minimizing and making things not seem like a big deal. Because clearly if they alert the child what circumstance they're in, they literally are swimming in a shark tank basically, right? Especially if it's a serious crime. There's a lot of false promises. Hey, just say you did it. It won't be a big deal. It won't be. There are officers that do that. Not honestly, but there's officers that do that. And then, you have to help me help you, right? You want to get out of this situation. I really have nothing in it, but if you want to help yourself, you got to tell me what happened so that I can help you, because I can't help you if I don't know what happened. Really? And then the other thing you think about is the emotional cutoff weakens resistance because they don't have anybody supporting them. Let's talk about the law versus reality. There is a totality of circumstances, and ultimately, juveniles should have someone there for them. And it sounds protective, but it often isn't. There have been Supreme Court shifts on certain things. For instance, I believe there have been a couple of mentally handicapped people who have been convicted of things, which doesn't really make any sense. And the Supreme Court can't handle every single case, given the fact that there's a lot of cases trying to get in to see the Supreme Court. So things fall short, and gaps are missed. People are missed, especially juveniles in the gap. And then you think about the fact that if they use all the dirty tricks on them and they actually get a confession, then you have issues with recanted confessions. And ultimately you think about, like, the adolescent brain is not fully developed to about 25, 26 years old. So what are we doing talking to these children, talking to them without a guardian present? I mean, that just seems like a dirty trick to me. And then there's also lifelong damage even after the release. Families fractured by guilt, shame, and silence. And just know this, that a confession isn't proof of guilt always. Sometimes it's proof of desperation. And if you were in a room as a juvenile by yourself, without your parents, without guidance, without knowing what was going on, and you thought that you had the key to get out of it, to get out of that room and move on with your life, would you? Yes. What is the key? What do I have to do to get out of this? How do I get out of this room and out of this situation and back to my parents? Tell us that you did it. Are you ready to confess? That's all I have to do? Okay. Thinking that that is going to be the immediate key to set them free. Unfortunately, that's most likely a dirty trick as well. So, thank you for tuning in to Grace and Gavel, where truth meets compassion. My name is Buffy, and I appreciate you tuning in, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.